Hi, diddly ho, everybody. Hi. Hi. I'm Brian SCOLARO, and this is TJ Miller.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
I have ADHD.
I got spectrum.
Just like everybody, right? Yeah, exactly.
I'm on the spectrum. Yeah, I get the, there's a pizza place by the Comedy Cellar called Artistic Pizza, and every time I pass by it, I go,
Yeah.
it should be autistic pizza. We only got 6 tomatoes on there. 6. It's gotta be 6.
Yeah, I love that. That place, have you eaten there?
Nah. Looks like you gotta have money. I go to the cheaper place.
What, Ben's?
Yeah, I love Ben's. It's my favorite pizza place. Funny story about Ben's. Made famous by Louis C.K. going in there in the beginning credits of Louis. So after 3 years, he stops by and they go, "My God, you made us famous! You made us famous! Everybody comes now because of you." And he goes, "Thanks." And they go, $2.50. They still charge him for the pizza. But it's pretty good pizza because I like the softer crust. I don't like the hard crust at Joe's. I don't like that.
Really?
Yeah,
Have you been
the
to
sauce just spills off. It's like messy.
Have you been to Prince Street Pizza?
Prince Street Pizza, no. Do you know?
Oh, really?
No, I don't. Do you know how
That's-
pizza? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you know how pizza was invented?
No, I'm excited to hear.
Well, the Princess of Italy was coming through town, and a chef wanted to make something to run up to her carriage and give to her. So he made a dish that was the colors of the Italian flag. Red,
That's right.
red for the sauce, green for basil, and white for mozzarella. So he brought it to her, and it was the Italian flag, and that's how pizza started. But anyway, Best Pictures, written by Patty Chayefsky, who also got the Oscar award for this, and also got the Oscar for The Hospital and Network. He wrote Network. Patty Chayefsky, former TV writer, who became a movie writer.
So, what are you gonna do tonight, Marty?
I don't know, Ma. I'm all knocked out. I may just hang around the house.
Why don't you go to the Stardust Ballroom?
What?
I say, why don't you go to the Stardust Ballroom? It's loaded with tomatoes.
It's loaded with what?
Tomatoes?
Who told you about the Stardust Ballroom, Ma?
Tommy. He says very nice place.
Oh, Thomas. Ma, it's just a big dance hall. That's all it is. I've been there 100 times. Loaded with tomatoes. Boy, you're funny, Ma.
Marty, I don't want you hanging around the house tonight. I want you to go take a shave and go dance.
Ma, when are you going to give up? You got a bachelor on your hands. I ain't never going to get married.
You're going to get married.
Ma, sooner or later, there comes a point in a man's life when he's got to face some facts. And one fact I got to face is that whatever it is that women like, I ain't got it. I chased after enough girls in my life. I went to enough dances. I got hurt enough. I don't want to get hurt no more. I just called up a girl this afternoon. I got a real brush off, boy. I figured I was past the point of being hurt, but that hurt. Some stupid woman who I didn't even want to call up. She gave me the brush. No, Ma, I don't want to go to Stardust Ballroom because all that ever happened to me there was girls made me feel like I was a bug. I got feelings, you know. I had enough pain. No thanks, Ma.
Marty,
No. I'm going to stay home tonight and watch the hit parade.
you're going to die without a son.
So I'll die without a son.
Oh, Marty, put on the blue suit, huh?
Blue suit, gray suit. I'm just a fat little man, a fat, ugly man.
You're not ugly.
I'm ugly.
Marty.
Ma, leave me alone. Ma, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? I'm miserable enough as it is. All right, so I'll go to the Stardust Ballroom. I'll put on a blue suit and I'll go. And you know what I'm going to get for my trouble? Heartache. A big night of heartache. Loaded with tomatoes. Oh, that's rich.
All right, so Marty, first thought, that's the Brian SCOLARO story. That's what it should be called.
So if that's, you know what, I'm going to break it right now because I had to say this. It's so funny because even in movies, the guy that plays a fat, short,
He's not that bad looking. Yeah.
he's good looking. There's no way around it.
No.
Ernest Borgnine is a good-looking guy, and so I think that's what's so funny is even in the movies, ugly people have to be handsome. And so when you say the Brian Scalero story,
I know, yeah.
that makes me laugh because you're a handsome guy.
I'm a handsome fat guy.
Well, what they have to do is they have to sort of cast somebody who's got some characteristics to them that match what, you know, an unattractive guy is.
Yeah.
And so it's very funny that you say that. And I think a big part of, well, do your spiel.
Well, I was just
basically that was for me to say, you know, there's a reason.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I agree. I think that, first of all, he took a lot of abuse for this later on. If there was a comedian in the 50s and 60s telling an ugly joke, they always said Ernest Borgnine. Even George Carlin had one.
Have you noticed some people, when they lose something, the first thing they say is it was stolen? That's their first reaction. Who stole it? It's an ego defense. They can't stand the fact that they might have been stupid enough to have lost something. Had to have been stolen. Even if it's something that nobody would really want. Hey! Hey! Who stole my collection of used bandages? And they also got away with my nude pictures of Ernest Borgnine.
You know what I mean? It's like fucked up, but that's what, you know, the guy took a lot of abuse, but he was very good. And it's a very realistic movie about no boxers with guns like on the waterfront, no money, no war, no World War II. This is a story about a man trying to meet a woman. That's it. And he's not traditionally good looking. It's a very simple story, and that's why Paddy Chayefsky was really a great writer, because this was a TV movie that he wrote, and then they made it into a movie. From what I see here, Marty originally was the screenplay was written by Paddy Chayefsky, expanding upon his 1953 teleplay of the same name. So yeah, it was it's pretty interesting.
And you know, I think that these epics, these war films, these, you know, socially, like you said, gangsters, these kind of sensationalist topics and themes are pretty easy, you know, pick for Best Picture.
Yeah.
And I've heard often, you know, because the only comedies that have won Best Picture are The Apartment and Annie Hall. But I've heard a lot that Marty is considered a comedy or thought of as a tragicomedy.
See, the thing is, I don't think that at all. Do you?
So it has some really funny parts to it. But no, I think for the most part it's drama. And so I would say it is at best a tragic comedy, or it's just a drama. But, you know, a lot of the jokes kind of, I mean, one of the jokes, and I'm glad I didn't see the entire thing, I'm excited to, but one of the jokes early on when he's in the bar having a beer, it's all men in the bar, you know, which must have been a really fun time. But you didn't go to a bar to meet a woman. You went to a bar to be with guys, talk about the game, figure out the latest news, and drink beers, and read newspapers. And one of the jokes is his buddy says, so what do, his buddy goes, so what do you want to do this weekend? He goes, I don't know. What do you want to do? And his buddy says, are we back to this again? I ask you what to do. You ask me what you want to do.
Oh, what do you feel like doing tonight?
I don't know, Ange. What do you feel like doing?
We're back to that, huh?
And that's really, really funny, but it is pointedly trying to show that Marty is stuck. He's stuck in this routine. He can't get out of it. He's hanging out with guys that are, you know, and so the acting, I think, is what pushes this over the edge. It's a great script, but the acting is really exceptional.
Well, first of all, he won Best Actor for this, Ernest Borgnine, which is great. And also, that bit that you just said is in a lot of movies because of that. Remember in the Jungle Book, the first one, the buzzards that are the Beatles? They go, I don't know, what do you want to do? Oh, not that again.
Hey, Flaps, what we gonna do?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
You know, like they do that.
Oh, yeah.
They do the thing for Marty. So it's but yeah, I personally love Ernest Borgnine. I think he's such a sweet-natured guy. Every time you see him, he was on Saturday Live recently. He did an episode of What's Up With That, and he was so happy to be there.
Academy Award winner Morgan Freeman. Academy Award winner Ernest Borgnine.
You know what I mean? Like he's really just looking at the dancing, and he's just having a ball. You know what I mean? He doesn't even play the character, which is supposed to be you're annoyed that they don't get to you. He's just enjoying himself so much, you know? But he's a really nice guy.
This was on Saturday Night Live, you said?
Saturday Night Live. He just did a guest spot on What's Up With That, and he could not have been happier. You know what I mean? He seems like a really
good guy. Rerun or a recent episode?
I would say past 4 years. I always remember in hello. I always remember in a quiz show. One of my favorite movies of all time is Quiz Show, and that's the question that make John Turturro lose on. They go, well, who won the best picture in 1950 something? And you're gonna guess On the Waterfront. And John Turturro goes, Marty? No, you can't make me lose on Marty. Everybody knows I love Marty. You can't make me lose on Marty. It was 2 years ago. It's humiliating. They go, well, that's the drama of it. That you are this big brainiac and you don't know what won Best Picture. He goes, but it's Marty. Everybody knows it's Marty.
Now, the last category is movies. We're going to ask you what won the Academy Award for Best Picture in 1955. You don't know it. You answer On the Waterfront.
Oh no. Oh no. Don't do that. Not Marty. I saw Marty 3 times. The Best Picture from 2 years ago, and I don't know it.
Someone of your intellect, and it's such a simple question. Don't you see the drama of that?
And then when they ask him, everyone at home is like, Marty, it's Marty. Like the movie was a big hit, you know?
You just see the drama, it unfolds, it's all real. You know, he goes to the Stardust, which is the main plot point. I mean, this is where he meets the ingenue. One female protagonist comes in with a friend, the guy that came with her doesn't like her, thinks she's plain, and he sort of gives her the brush, is outside and starts crying, and he comes out to talk to her, and she turns and cries in his arms. And all of that, I think, works because it's not melodramatic. It's not saccharine. When you see that scene where they first connect, and she says, I don't know what's going on with me. I cry all the time now. He says, I cry a lot. I cry all the time. I'm a big crier.
I've begun to cry a lot lately.
Well, I cry a lot, too. I'm a big crier.
Yeah.
And you see this guy kind of be... Remember, this is... What year did this win?
I have to look.
3?
It's 1955.
1955. So in the 50s, guys aren't crying. They're not talking about crying. A lot of them got back from war. They're just getting back into feeling like they're a part of society. And the idea of being a bachelor is so negative that the opening scene when he's in the butcher shop, 2 women, one kind of old spinstery lady, just an old, it's a shame. Shame on you for not getting married. Shame. All your brothers, all your sisters are married. For shame.
When you gonna get married, Marty? You should be shame yourself. All your brothers and sisters younger than you, they get married, they got the children. I met your mother in the fruit store. She said to me, hey, you know a nicer girl for my boy Marty? What's the matter with you? That's a no, eh? What's the matter with you?
Miss Fizet.
Now you get married. You hear what I say?
Miss Fizet, Miss Kendall.
My boy Frank was 19 years old when he get married. What's the matter with you?
That's swell, Miss Fizet.
You should be shame yourself.
And so she leaves, and a really young, attractive girl comes up, and says, hey, Marty, I need this. Give me a pound of this. And you think, oh, God, he's getting harangued by these elderly women in the neighborhood. And then this young girl, who couldn't be more than, younger than him probably, she says, as he's getting hurt, oh, it's a shame. Shame on you for not being married yet.
Marty, I want a nice big fat bullet, about 4 pounds.
Sure.
I hear your kid brother got married last Sunday.
That's right. It was a very nice affair.
Marty, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. All your kid brothers and sisters married and got children. When are you going to get married?
And so it kind of shows that everybody culturally in the Bronx.
You want him married? You fucking marry him. How about that, you dumb bitch? Anyway, you ever see Lobster? Lobster's a movie where
yeah, it's a great.
If you don't get married, they turn you into food. They turn you into an animal. That's crazy.
An animal. What animal would you pick?
Not a lobster. I would want to be a bear so I can kill all the people who turn me down.
Yeah, I like that. If you can find them.
Just fucking
if you can find them. A lot of these women that turn you down smell like honey, so it'll be easy to track them down.
No, they don't. They smell like you ever fuck a girl who smelled so bad down there it was like a dumpster at fucking Arthur Treacher's? It was like high tide, low tide. It was horrible. Anyway, we should probably...
you know what? I've fucked a dumpster that smells like the most beautiful vagina I've ever come across. But
I think you're joking.
You masturbated enough dumpsters. Every woman is a Moroccan.
Then you get some onion rings after. Yeah, there's onion rings in there. Anyway, so let's go to the next one, huh?
Let's do it. But just at the end of that, I just think a big part of the pathos, but a big part of the pathos of this film is that culturally, being a bachelor at 34, he's only 34, is absolutely unacceptable. And so this was the first time, we know that about women, but I think this was the first time that there was a movie
about men.
A guy.
And also, so I think Patty Chayefsky was not a handsome man. So I think to write this, you have to go through a lot of pain, and people don't really they don't really realize when you're writing something based on your life, you're fucking sad while you're writing it. You're pretty much, when you have to write a story based on something in your life, you're pretty much saying, well, for the next 3 months, I'm going to be really depressed writing this in a room by myself, going through all the times women turn me down. Well, there's that story where Julia turned me down. Well, there's that story where Marissa turned me down. To have to write all that, and it's probably really painful.
That's really what it is Marty really has the world around him saying you're not, right down to his mother who he lives with.
Right. You can't get away from it. You can't just sit down and eat a plate of spaghetti. You know?
Right, exactly.
I always like when people in movies, I always hate when people in movies do this with their food. They move it around. Just fucking eat it.
You know what, though? You and I, both of us, we both know why that is. And you're doing so much coverage, you don't want to be eating every moment, and you get sick, and then, or you get that spit bucket. Ooh, nobody likes that.
First thing I think of is, where did they shit? Did they shit over the side? Did they have a bucket? Do you have to shit in front of your butler? Does your butler have to shit in front of David Niven? Like, where do they shit?
I mean, yes, of course that's the first thing you thought of. And the first thing I thought of is, look at those champagne glasses. That was really the era for great champagne, accoutrement. And I love that he's grabbed. I mean, they got to shit over the side.
They have to. They have to shit. Which would be scary.
The other guy has to turn the other way, and they got to figure out which way the wind is blowing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You probably got it. So Around the World in 80 Days is a 1956 American epic adventure comedy starring David Niven, who I love, and Shirley MacLaine. The screenplay, based on the 1873 novel of the same name by Jules Verne, the film won 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture.
I saw the movie, and the beginning is so interesting. It's about sort of these really wealthy people, and they bet the main character who's having money problems. They bet him that
you can't circumnavigate the globe in 80 days. Yeah.
And I love circumnavigate. What, did you go to college or something?
That was in Wikipedia.
Say what you want, but at least you can remember it.
I say this is absurd. Gentlemen, I have on deposit at Baring's Bank the sum of £20,000, and I'm willing to wager any or all of it upon the same contention, namely that I can complete a tour of the world in 80 days.
Yeah, I agree.
So and Jackie Chan played that part in the remake, the valet.
When was the remake? What year?
I don't know. It didn't do well.
I'm positive it did not.
But I think people don't really care about stories about rich people, you know. But
They did back then.
I guess so.
In the 40s also, because it was, glorified is the wrong word, but it was sort of, sensationalized, or I'm really not finding the word. I guess I should use yours. They were circumnavigated.
Well, do they? Is there anything else? I know they get derailed in Spain, and they go to England, and they get blown off course. But is there anything other than any human emotions in the movie?
I don't remember, because I might have fallen asleep towards the end of it. I don't remember but yes. I mean, I think he meets somebody along the way.
Yeah.
But I think this, like Gone with the Wind, is another example of what is impressive is like, wow, this is something to behold.
Yeah.
Even the scene we showed, it's like, oh my God, I mean, it really looks like this balloon is actually floating, and then he grabs the snow from the top, and it's a Technicolor. I mean, it's a year later, Marty's in black and white. And so I think this is another example of them giving the award for technological achievement, for aesthetic achievement. And, you said, I remember that there used to be two best pictures. One was for sort of technical achievement, right? Didn't you?
Right. One best picture. I don't know if they have a list here of what they won. Critical. The film was nominated for 8 Academy Awards, winning 5, beating out Friendly Persuasion, Giant, The King and I, and The 10 Commandments. It beat out The 10 Commandments.
Wow, and Giant, which is a James Dean film.
And right. And it's also one of the few Best Picture winners not to be nominated in any acting category. The Best Art Direction, Best Screenplay, Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Best Musical Score.
Yeah. So right there, that's enough to say it is an Academy Award for technical achievement and not for acting, obviously. So the actors were sort of an afterthought, or at least second to, the film, the production. So that's what I mean, is the production won Best Picture, not the actors. And it won Best Screenplay, though, you said, yes? That's okay, because
it won Best Picture, it lost Best Director, it won Best Screenplay, it lost Best Art Direction, it won Best Cinematography, it lost Best Costume Design, it won Editing, it won Musical Score. And I found the emotion part. So when they're in India, they rescue a beautiful young widow, Ayoda, from being forced into a funeral pyre with her late husband. So they were going to kill somebody, so they saved her. So that later on he gets arrested in New York, and they think he's a killer, but they let him go. But now, because he was arrested, he won't make it back in time. But he fell in love with the girl. So now at least he fell in love with the girl, and that matters more than money.
So again, the other thing is, it didn't win Best Actor for anyone, and it also didn't win Best Director. So the two things that we think are synonymous with what makes a Best Picture, in this case, they weren't. I'm sure they were nominated, but who won Best Picture then? Should I look that up? It might.
It won Best Picture, Around the World in 80 Days.
Sorry. Who won Best Actor?
Yul Brynner won for The King and I.
Right, and then who won Best Director?
Directing, George Stevens for Giant.
So there you go. So Yul Brynner and beat James Dean, obviously, and then the director of Giant. So what they found is that sort of one picture had the best director, the other picture had best actor, and neither were, and The King and I, I'm sure, was really impressive, but neither had the scale or the scope or the art direction or the cinematography and stuff to beat out Around the World in 80 Days. So that also tells you that Best Picture really was who has the most perfect things in the most categories, the most perfect execution and work in the most categories.
They go to India, they go to England, they go to the Old West, they go to New York, they go to San Francisco. So they go everywhere. So I'm guessing that alone was exciting for people to see.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the 1950s, and there just wasn't a movie like that before.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because that's what Everything Everywhere All at Once was. It won Best Picture because it was a movie that. Are you okay?
I just didn't like that movie. So I go.
Yeah, I could see that, I guess.
Anyway, all right, let's move on.
Okay.
I do like David Niven. David Niven was on stage during the famous Streaker part in the Oscars. So when the Streaker came out during the Oscars, David Niven was on stage, and he looked to his right. He goes, "I never understand why people would be so confident in showing their shortcomings." You know what I mean?
Oh, God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
His most important envelope is a very important contributor to world entertainment, and someone quite likely isn't it? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was almost bound to happen. But isn't it fascinating to think that probably the only laugh that man will ever get in his life is by stripping off and showing his shortcomings.
God, that is so funny.
But I always liked him. He also did a lot of comedies, David Niven. He was in like the Pink Panther and,
I was right. There is something going on.
You've got to do it now.
Colonel Saito, have you a knife? I've just realized the bridge has been mined.
Mined?
Good boy. Officers, sir. British officer, here to blow up the bridge. Blow up the bridge? Yes, sir. Yes, British commando orders. Blow up the bridge. Yes, sir. Look out the cliff. No! No! Help! Kill him! Let me go, sir. You don't understand, sir. Kill him! Kill him! Help! Help! Kill him, Joyce! Kill him!
What have I done?
You know what's amazing is it's so good that I was like, I want to see it again. I don't want to see the ending again. But the tension, the tension of that, it's like right away it puts you on the edge of your seat. Like, what's going to happen? Is this guy going to get through it? He killed this other guy. There's just so much going on. It's so well done. And
you are transfixed.
Transfixed.
Like, as many times as you've seen it, when that ending comes, you are just transfixed by it, as if you haven't seen it a million times.
You are circumnavigated, you know?
But it's really, really well done. That, first of all, he's fantastic, Alec Guinness. He's just fantastic. The fact that his pride would interfere with what his initial duty to win the war, his pride over the bridge would interfere.
I'll try to make myself clear, sir. The fact is, what we're doing could be construed as, forgive me, sir, collaboration with the enemy. Perhaps even as treasonable activity.
Are you all right, Clifton? We are prisoners of war. We haven't the right to refuse work.
I understand that, sir, but must we work so well? Must we build them a better bridge than they could have built for themselves?
If you had to operate on Saito, would you do your best or would you let him die? Would you prefer to see this battalion disintegrate in idleness? Would you have it said that our chaps can't do a proper job? Don't you realize how important it is to show these people that they can't break us in body or in spirit? Take a good look, Clifton. One day the war will be over. And I hope that the people who use this bridge in years to come will remember how it was built and who built it. Not a gang of slaves, but soldiers, British soldiers, Clifton, even in captivity.
It's amazing. And then when he really goes, blow up the bridge? Like, he gets so, blow up the bridge? Like, he can't believe it. And then when he sees William Holden, he's like, oh, what have I done? It's shit. That's right. I was supposed to win the war. You know, it's so well done, and how you can take a war movie and the big goal of the war movie and have a human emotion that's not necessarily negative, but have it affect the war. It's such a simple little thing, how somebody's pride could win or lose a war. How one person's pride could win or lose a war. I love that. And I love the woman standing up, even though they've only slept with these guys once. They're like, oh, they're like, they're transfixed and circumnavigated by the whole thing.
Right. And then, of course, and you would think this would be the scene, but it's.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. And I also love that this is the movie that Ron Swanson watches on his birthday on Parks and Recreation. Like that's the scene he watches. And that's a fucking real train crashing. I don't think that's a miniature train. That's a fucking real train crashing.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but I don't know. At one point, I'm like, is it a miniature?
I don't think it's a miniature. I think both that and The General by Buster Keaton use real trains. Is that a real train crashing in bridge over river KWAI? KWAI.
Bridge is real, a wooden railway and a thorough concrete structure built using imported bridge sections.
It's a real bridge, cost $250,000 to construct at the time. The train was bought from Keely's government, so that's a real train.
Wow.
And I believe The General did the same thing with Buster Keaton.
And the film Unstoppable with Denzel Washington, Chris Pine, and yours truly also crashed a real train at one point.
Wow.
You got to think, and you only get one take, obviously, and you got to think that I never thought about this until now, but what is the cleanup on that?
I think they just left it there. I think the train from The General is still there.
Really?
Yeah, I think
wonder what happened with Unstoppable. I got to look that up because that's really interesting. But I wasn't able to be there for the derailment. I wanted to, but I had to work.
Well, the Jaws ship, the Orca, is still there. Or it was still there until recently. I'm pretty sure other people went to it and just took it apart, but to keep pieces of it. But it was really still there. They're like, all right, here's our garbage. Thanks for letting us shoot at your island. Goodbye.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Well, it's such a good movie. It's definitively one of the best war movies.
I think so too.
It's a different era of film. Saving Private Ryan is so raw, so real, and I don't even know what else really to compare this to. But
it's like Guns of Navarone a little bit. Guns of Navarone.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's like it was one of my grandfather's favorite movies. But I really liked this movie, and I always knew the bridge blows up, but I never knew how it blows up. And it's so poetic that his body is what blows up the bridge. That
he both denies and tries and stops it, but is clearly walking over to it, and it's almost like the final explosion is detonated by a man who is conflicted.
Well, at the end, he's going to blow it up. What have I done? And then he dies anyway.
What have I done?
And it's like all these innocent people die, just trying to blow this fucking bridge up, including, it's just almost something poetic about the fact that it's his body. It's like, you think, oh shit, he's dead. Well, but he fell on it. It's just...
Yeah.
It's great. And then the guy who kills him goes, I had to shoot. You know that? There's a scene where he looks at the woman he's with. He goes, I had to shoot him. I had to. You saw it, and he gets mad and he throws the gun. So he's got that guilt to deal with, that even though Alec Guinness changed his mind and they could see that, he already shot the thing in the air.
Yeah.
So it's like he killed the guy he didn't have to.
Right, but blowing up the bridge is more important. And I still disagree. I think that he was thinking, what have I done? But I think that final sort of staggering to the detonator was also sort of, thinking about, and then, he's dying. And so it's almost like he didn't technically push the plunger to detonate the bomb.
No, he didn't. But I think he was going to blow it up.
And this is why you and I just have never had dinner.
Well, well, the thing is, when he sees William Holden, he realizes this guy escaped, and here he is back, and they didn't get along, and here he is back, because when he sees him, he goes like, oh shit, that's right. If he's back, that means this is important, because he was out. And here, how stupid was I to defend this bridge? Why did I build this bridge? And then he's like, why did I fucking kill that kid? Not kill it. Why did I fight the kid? He's like, shit, he's like, he remembers there, seeing William Holden, that it's not about the bridge, it's about the war, it's about winning the war. And so I think that when he says, what have I done, is him realizing, what have I done? I gotta fucking blow up this bridge.
What have I done?
And this is simply an example of differing opinions where one of them is wrong.
I think it's yours.
Well, of course you do. You're wrong.
He says, what have I done? He says, what have I done?
I've never seen that technique for getting rid of a cough.
Whoa, what was that?
I've never seen the technique for the.
It's like the frog guy from the Star Wars movie. But he says, "What have I done?" Which is, I think, to me, is a clue that he's realizing he shouldn't have done that. But it doesn't matter. But it's a great movie, though, huh? Epic war film directed by David Lean, now widely recognized as one of the greatest films ever made. It was the highest grossing film in 1957 and received overwhelmingly positive reviews from the critics, won 7 Academy Awards. In 1997, the film was deemed culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant and selected for the Preservation of National Films Registry. It has been included on the American Film Institute's list of best American films ever made. In 1999, the British Film Institute voted The Bridge over KWAI the 11th greatest British film of the 20th century.
Well, that's pretty funny. They're both
saying it's their movie.
And the USA were like, it's our movie.
Yeah. Interesting. And David Lean, we did David Lean before, right? David Lean did Lawrence of Arabia, Dr. Zhivago, Passage to India.
Also a good film, Lawrence of Arabia.
Anyway, I fucking love this movie. I love the whole thing about British officers not having to do work, and he's such for professionalism and the rules. He's like he goes to the fucking stockade just to prove his point that the British officers shouldn't be forced to work. That there's rules. Like, he's just a guy by the rules, and the fact that William Holden is just American who's escaping, and the British guy is following the rules. It's really interesting. It breaks down the difference between America and Britain really well, I think, too. That America is just this loose cannon, where Britain's more about a tradition and an honor.
Well, and in the service of, the enemy, almost. So it's
good movie.
I love that they claimed it as their own movie. That's hilarious.
That is funny. All right, one last movie.
Gigi? What are you doing there?
Gaston, do you make love all the time?
I beg your pardon?
Do you make love all the time?
Good heavens, no. The only people who make love all the time are liars. Was that the subject of your lesson today?
How did you know I was having a lesson?
I just came from your house.
Too bad I wasn't there. We could have played cards and I could have given you another bad beating.
You cheat.
I can, but with you, I don't have to.
Now, you watch your tongue, my girl.
I'm not your girl.
Oh, thank you for that. If I ever have a little girl, I'll see to it she's more respectful than you. Come with me.
Where?
To the ice palace.
I don't skate.
I'll buy you a drink.
I don't drink.
A sweet one.
You're going to skate?
No, but I'm calling for Madame d'Excelmance.
Leon? You lady love? Oh, no, thank you. I've had enough of that for today.
Well, I'm not going to woo her on ice. Now, come along before I spank you.
You wouldn't dare.
Oh, I wouldn't, eh?
No.
Well, my first thought is I'd like to see the spanking scene. I don't know why they deleted that. You know,
I would like to see the card playing scene. I'm more about foreplay, you know?
All right, so 1958 American musical romantic comedy. Feature songs with lyrics by Frederick Lowe.
Four little girls get bigger every day. Thank heaven, four little girls.
The film won all of 9 of its nominations. Wow.
Wow, and so it's a musical, not a comedy. You know,
Best directed
all musicals are comedies except for Miss Saigon.
It held the record for the highest clean sweep of nominations, later shared with The Last Emperor, until Lord of the Rings: Return of the King won all 11 of its nominations for the 76 Academy Awards. Ha! Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be
Chinese.
It's not a movie that I would want to watch, but even from that scene, you kind of see that there's a lot to it. But it's clearly a period piece.
Yeah.
You know, I don't love stories that center around French people, but that scene definitely makes you want to watch more of it.
Yeah, I agree. It's as well, like these movies, like when you watch a scene, you're like, oh, this is pretty good. Remarks that in Paris, marriage is not the sole option for wealthy young bon vivants, like his nephew Gaston, who is bored with life. Gaston does enjoy spending time with Madame Alvarez and her granddaughter, precocious, carefree Gilbert, affectionately known as Gigi. Gigi learns proper etiquette and charm, but disdains the trivial love between a man and his mistress. She prefers to have fun with Gaston, whom she regards as an older brother or a young uncle.
It's about a woman who's being forced into a certain role, and she breaks convention and sort of does something, you know, differently. So I think, I don't know, I think it's really interesting that it's such a specific, and it has a Lolita vibe, that she's going to end up with that guy who she considers an older brother or a young uncle. Yeah. But again, that's kind of when all that's going on, you know?
Right. When Gaston goes to Monte Carlo, Madame Alvarez schemed to turn Gigi into Gaston's mistress. Though initially dubious, agrees to Gigi being intensively trained before Gaston's return. Gigi accepts this as predestined.
May I come in?
Yes. Gaston, please. No newspapers, no scandal.
Madame, will you do me the honor, the favor, give me the infinite joy of bestowing on me Gigi's hand in marriage?
So I guess, yeah. So she winds up with this guy, which would have made the spanking scene a lot better.
Yeah, it's My Fair Lady.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's my favorite.
It's sort of, can she agree to these conventions? But in this case, it's for the purposes of love. But a precocious woman, you know, in this time period was really, really something else. You know?
Yeah, I guess you're right, because that was different to have a woman be like upstarts like that. But she was a child, and whoever played her was good. Who was she played by?
Yeah, it seems very much like
Leslie Caron.
She won Best Actress, right? For sure. If they accepted the award, then yeah.
if they accept the award. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Art Director, Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Musical Picture, Best Song. It did not get any acting nominations. Not one.
Really?
Yeah. But who played, because I liked her. You know, she was good.
Yeah, she was great, man. And I think, yeah, who was that? But I think that she was, I don't think
Caron.
she's a known actress.
Yeah, he wanted Audrey Hepburn, which is weird because she looks like Audrey Hepburn. She looks a lot like her.
Yeah, well, that's why she got it. You know?
Leslie Caron, who had co-starred in American in Paris for the Freed, the director. Maurice Chevalier. Anytime I hear his name, I just think of Marx Brothers, the monkey business. Maurice Chevalier, where they steal his passport, and they keep trying to get through customs. Maurice Chevalier. So they keep trying to saying, I sing like him when they do the song, and Harpo has the record player behind him.
Hey, what's this?
Passport. I said passport, not pasteboard. Come on with a passport. Not washboard. Passport. Chevalier. People I didn't get would sing at you, acting much sweeter than they do, for you brought a new kind of love to me. If the Sandman brought me rid of you, my whole life through, for you brought a new kind of love to me.
The guy gets tired of them all having Chevalier's passport because they keep passing it to each other.
All right, exactly.
That's what I think of when I think of Chevalier.
Well, it's not the best sign for the movie that we're reminded of the Marx Brothers, but I think it's worth a watch. But you've got to love this genre, you know.
Yeah. Well, I could also watch her. Like her, she was very good. She seemed like a teenager, but I do know that it looked like a very good period piece. That was good costumes, good fucking carriage, you know.
Yeah, and great carriage. And it's not a movie that it's not a genre that I would like to see. So of all the movies that we've sort of gone through, this one is, I think, in the list of 5 that I think I can.
But it's very interesting how all 4 movies we did today were all entirely different.
Different.
Each one is entirely different than the other one, to show that the Oscars really doesn't have a specific type. They have several types. You know, they have the big picture, big fucking war picture, like and then they have the little story like Marty about human emotions. Then they have the epic picture with the balloon going across all the world. Then they have a period piece, you know, about a girl, about romance. It's 4 completely different movies,
and each year they're taking into consideration all of the things, the spectrum of things that make a best picture.
Right.
I think that's really interesting too, because any film can win, especially that is exemplified by a film that you didn't understand, and you cover that up by saying that you didn't like it. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
I understood it.
No, I'm just kidding with you. I mean, you know, the thing is like, that year was particularly difficult because I think I would have given it to Meet the Fablemans.
What else was nominated? Avatar. Oh, I would have given it to the Banshees of Inisherin.
I haven't seen that. That's the one.
I love that one. I would have given it to that one. Second choice, I would have given it to All Quiet on the Western Front. Third choice, Fablemans. I didn't see Tar. I didn't see. I hated.
Tar is
I
amazing.
I didn't like Triangle of Sadness. I didn't see Elvis, but The Banshees of Inisherin was one of my favorite movies in the past 10 years. So I would have.
We've got to see it. It's incredibly depressing, so I don't know if I can get Kate to do it. But Tar, we're also very close to that subject matter. But Tar is so good, and it's really about, smear campaigns by the younger generation that destroy art.
Is that what it's about? Oh, I'd love to see that. That's exactly what we're going through.
Yeah, it is so good. So you've got to see that one. Well, these are great. I love it. And I'm excited for the next episode of the Best Pod with Brian Scalera.
And TJ Miller.
Perfect ending.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. I'll see you soon.
See you soon, man. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.